In our lifetime, what's more likely, teleportation or time travel? Both are they possible?
We can do both. We've already done teleportation. We've teleported, it's been a prediction of quantum theory for decades, and we've done it with small particles, so single particles. So the question is, can you do it with bigger things? Don't know is the answer. But it's been done with the smallest particles.
Is it possible that in my lifetime, instead of driving home for a long time on the freeways of Los Angeles, and that I will be teleported into to my home?
I don't think you're going to have to do that today. For all we know, it's been done with single particles. We don't know. Time travel, it's been done in the sense that you can travel into the future as fast as you like. I'm sure there are other civilizations out there in the universe, because there are 2 trillion galaxies. I just can't believe this hasn't happened in other places. The question is, how often does it happen, and how widely spaced are the civilizations? And I think they're very widely spaced, and I think there may be 1 or 2 per galaxy on the average.
Are you aware of recent, was it that Occupy thing, octopus eggs? There was a group of scientists that were speculating that possible that octopi had come from somewhere else. Some frozen eggs had actually come from somewhere else and landed on Earth. And these were like legitimate scientists that were contemplating, not morons.
No, I didn't. But I mean, I think it's so panspermia doesn't have to be unlikely.
Right.
I mean, for example, you might have seen the other day we found an Earth rock on the moon.
Yes.
Right. Well, it's back on Earth now because the Apollo astronauts brought it back, didn't they? 4 billion years old or something like that.
One of the oldest rocks ever found.
Yeah.
Right.
So we know that material gets transferred between planets, and so it's not inconceivable that microbes could survive that journey. Right. We know that microbes can survive in space, so that isn't mad. It's probably unlikely, but it's not mad. But with the octopus, I hadn't heard that. But the thing is that the octopus is still extremely similar biologically to us. I mean, the differences are negligible.
Yeah. Do you think that it's possible? Do you ever entertain the idea that we are the only intelligent life in the known universe?
I tend to restrict myself to the galaxy.
Right.
So I do think it's possible. At the moment, there's 1 civilization in the Milky Way.
Wow.
And I think that's important. And it goes back to what I was saying at the start about the astronomy and cosmology being part of the framework within which you have to think. If you're looking for meaning, or you're looking for how we should behave even politically. I mean, imagine that we're the only place where there is intelligence in this galaxy. How should we behave?
Right.
Should we actually, notwithstanding the fact that we're tiny and fragile things and insignificant physically, should we consider ourselves extremely valuable in that respect? Because there'll be nowhere else where meaning exists in the Milky Way. What is true about Mars? It's interesting actually, because we know something about the history of Mars now, and it's certainly clear that there was water, almost certainly oceans, rivers. And that water is almost certainly still there.
Well, they have found large quantities of ice now, right?
Yeah, so there's certainly ice. There may even be pockets of liquid water below the surface somewhere. So couple that with all the minerals and the resources that we know are there, and you have everything you need. So that's the thing about Mars. It's quite nice relative to everywhere else other than the Earth. You can't go to Venus, right? You just melt. What is it? So Mars is quite nice. But I wouldn't go there. I agree with you, because it's not
the gravity of Mars in relationship to the Earth?
It's what is it, about a third, I think.
Third.
So I think expansion is good, and I think we will expand, and I think we will expand outwards, because there's not much room left on this planet to expand. So I think we'll do. So, but that's a whole different idea. It's not about gathering scientific information. It's about a frontier. And all the benefits that come from operating as a civilization on a frontier, which we've sort of lost on the Earth because there is no frontier left. So nothing can escape, and that's a black hole.
Do they travel? Are they moving through space?
They're still stars.
Right.
They're surrounded, this region where if you fall in, it's called the event horizon. And if you go across that horizon, then you are going to the centre. There's one way of thinking about it, which is quite cool, which is that the time and space sort of flip. So in the same way that we are going into the future now. So we're going to tomorrow. We are going to tomorrow. In the same way, if you fall in across the event horizon of a black hole, you are going to the middle, the singularity it's called. So that's your future. So I think that given the same conditions, it would be surprising to me if the same thing didn't happen, in that life begins. So that's to test that is one of the great frontiers of science now. It's one of the great challenges, which is why another reason we're interested in Mars, because we know those conditions were there. We know there were what's called hydrothermal vent systems on the floors of oceans on Mars 3.8 or 4 billion years ago. So it would be good to know if what I've said is right. And the way we find out is to find life or evidence of past life.
One of the biggest mind-blowing moments, I think, of was when I found out that carbon, all the stuff that makes us, has to come out of a dying star.
Yeah, the carbon atoms in our body, you're right, they all got made in stars because there was none of it at the Big Bang. There's only hydrogen and helium, a tiny bit of lithium to be precise, but nothing else. And so it was all made in stars. And it's probably from different stars. You know, the atoms in your body, they're not all from one star that cooked it and then died. There'll be a mixture of stuff from many stars in your body now. I like to say that it provides a framework within which, if you want to philosophize or you want to do theology or you want to ask these deep questions about why we're here, you have to operate within that framework because it's just an observational framework.
Yes.
So everything we've said is stuff we've discovered. It's not stuff that someone made up, right? We understand nuclear physics.